I remember my dad was to travel out of country, and they were requesting whether we can push the wedding, but I said no. I said no because that, you see, when God gives instruction, zinakuwa hard in our timelines. If you dare push it like this, you may change so many things, you know.
After our wedding,
Yeah,
it took around 3 weeks, and Corona was here. Lockdown, and everything now went haywire.
No weddings for a period of time, you remember that?
God was so precise with his dates, and that's how we insisted, even when the parents were like, you know, you can push it.
I am not this kind of a person that really goes for encouragement or needs to be so much encouraged by family, by friends. Through the training that God has taken me through, what I've learned is that I will my own peace and power and everything. So like I sit down, I know this thing is happening, so God, the first person I would first approach is God. What do I do with this? And God, of course, you know, you knew them beforehand, so it's nothing new for you. So I honestly don't need to have encouragement from people, because the moment you start looking for encouragement, then you don't have a stand, because you can easily be swayed away, you know. So for me, I was like, God, we agreed with this, with you concerning this. You told me this. That is what I stand on. The rest for me is noise. So I was this kind of a person. Family is like this. You see, you take this scenario like you are in school. So there are times you just don't want to hear from anybody. You need to focus, because there's something that is waiting for you ahead, you know. So for me, maybe I would say people like him, and even my pastor as well, but I was so much focused in regards to what I'm doing, and also church. So nothing much about friends. God would create ways for anything that I needed, but not that aspect of beggary, no. You see something, this aspect of this destiny connectors. Someone can be sent in your life for a purpose and for a certain period of time, and that after that period is done, that is up. But that aspect of, there's a note that I had made with God way kitambo, and nikamwambia, God, if you allow me to serve you, I will do this with all me. So imagine that thing was still there, and that thing, ilikuwa ina willpower from within. Even the healing, I think even after the last breakup, hiyo kitu God alinipelekesha mbio until the power that was coming out, it was much. Because I remember him telling me, you don't need to be encouraged by anybody for you to stand. And I was like, fine. And I had to stand until that thing works. So the moment I hit that spark, then there was no going back for me, yeah. When he introduced me to his, I remember we went way later. We went to his home. 2019 late.
August.
So after we went, I remember his dad was very happy. And for us, we knew what we were doing, like nothing would stop. We didn't care whether someone is against, but apparently his dad was very positive. He even blessed us. He blessed us on our first visit in his home, and that was all that we needed. What made us talk again was the graduation, my sister's graduation, of which he didn't come because you were not available.
Yes.
So we went with my friends, and nothing was like odd. You see, for me, there is no enmity, you know. There is that aspect of dealing with yourself that you don't see even your family as an enemy, because there's nothing, you understand from what position they are fighting this, you know. So we talked as normal. There was nothing awkward. You see those awkward moments? There was nothing. Actually, nobody would sense. And so that broke. And I remember the next time I visited home, we were talking as normal. It was close to our wedding when I went home, and we were talking normally, though I didn't even tell them I was planning for the wedding. When I went to visit my parents, they didn't even ask, because maybe they thought I have gone, like I've decided otherwise, you know, because we were not in such talks. We talk as family, like Yes, we came to visit, eat, be happy, but you don't talk about something that is not your business, you know, like something you don't want to hear. Because I remember when, way before Kidogo, the time I went to tell them about getting married to a Luo, and they were like, they withdrew. They were not for that, you know. They were not for that. So I wouldn't bother them. I was not out to convince, because I was okay with their stand. Because in future I knew if this is God's will, then they will definitely have to come to align with that. So it was not a forced thing. So I was very much okay with that.
When we were planning our wedding, you see, for me, what I know, the most important thing is the two of us have decided we are the ones who are going to get married. We have our pastor who's going to join us together. That's enough. So we were planning our wedding, and we had in mind we were going to invite both sides, because my people, I told them I'm planning for a wedding. So I told her, for your people, because they are still against it, we're going to tell them when it's a week's time.
Yeah, it was a week's time.
We called them in a week's time. It was like 1 week to the wedding.
No, I remember before then, there's a time we said that we wanted to honestly go and do like an introduction.
Yeah.
But they said we shouldn't. Like, they said it's okay, but before the date, vitu zikaletwa hapo katikati to make sure that we don't go. So they were trying by all means, like things heightened. Yes. So I said then it's okay. There's no problem with that. So, but the day God told me now is the time to plan for your wedding, there was no going back for me. But I remember God showed me clearly and told me the battle that you're going to face is no joke, but make sure you don't give up. That was the parting shot. Don't give up. Go up to the end. Up to the end. And that is what I did. And like I told you, when God tells me this, that is what I stand on. Because honestly, when you start hearing other voices, you'll never accomplish anything in life. So if this is where you're purposed to go, then when you start, keep listening to the person that started that. Because others will just come as distractors, you know. So the day God told me, now is the time to plan for your wedding, we started planning, and it was not easy either.
It was a rough journey.
It was a rough one and a tough one, but we still made it.
We pulled it through. You see, in a normal setup of a wedding plan, you usually have a committee, your friends you'd come and meet and maybe contribute money and tell them what you want to do and all those things, which we also did. And we planned everything. We got our best couple, the guys who are going to stand with us, the men and the ladies, and we planned everything. So when we were going for the meeting, I think God told us it's not going to be the way you expect. So we were prepared in advance. It's not going to be the way you expect. So we went for the meeting. We were just a few of us, just our close friends, the ones that we were with. They're the ones who came. And it turned out to be a service. I remember we sang, we prayed, and we danced. Then we went home. No money was contributed.
And it became the routine.
So that was the routine. We met close to 5 times or so. Until money was not coming through, there was nothing. Like people, I don't know what happened, but people were not giving money. So until even the ones who were helping us plan the wedding, they were like, are you really sure God told you that you should wed? I'm like, yeah. My ears are very clear. And I'm a prophet. I hear God. I have a conversation with God. They're like, how? Why is it so hard? And so many people started stepping out. I remember the event planners, they were like, hey, this one, because what they expected was, when we start this, money will come and things will flow effortlessly. But that was not the case. So people started walking out, walking away.
Those people who are not strong enough. This thing is not real. This thing, we've not seen such kind of a thing before, because there was no meeting that contribute. Yani, God can mess you, literally. Because when we needed money to do something, that is when, like,
the money was
if we are supposed to go
moment.
to Sharia house the following day, the money will show up the previous day. And it is not from expected sources, no. So the moment I realized the trend, okay, kukakuwa na hiyo kurelax kidogo, but it was a mess, a funny thing, I'm telling you. Because you want this, it is not according to what you want, it is according to what I want. Like, it was not our wedding, it was his wedding, basically. So it was tough to the end. Like, from the human mind, it is like it's not supposed to operate that way, you know. You expect that when you're wedding, then people are supposed just to come on board, everybody is supporting you, you know. It was not
people
like that.
Happy.
No, it was not like that. It was like, it is opposite. It is not what now the society want, it's not what your friends want, it is my agenda with you, you know. So I was like, God, you know, I stand with you. What you tell me, that is, even if we work on daily basis to go and meet, we even met the service providers and all that kind of stuff, but God knew, hapa hakuna kitu in amount. But just go to be encouraged, for you to see it is a routine. But right now is when I know that when God decides it's this way, you close your mind and allow God to tell you that this is the way, you know. Otherwise, we went for all those meetings, there was no money, so every time, for those guys who are strong, we were doing service every now and then. Every time we go, start, any debates would rise, we start fellowshipping. And then we go home without any money. Until, I remember the journey went, I remember 1 week, it was 1 week, two. Should be
two
either
weeks.
1 or 2 weeks to the wedding,
yeah.
And we have no money, remember. I remember I was called home and I was told, I remember I met with my parents and some elders and I was told, if for sure your wedding, because I wrote a text.
Yeah, she texted, I told
Yes.
her, now you can text
To
them
invite
because
them.
the wedding is in 2 weeks time.
Yeah.
Now you just invite them that we're having a wedding on 1st of February,
yeah.
2020.
So that is when they called and they saw that. I remember my mom called a friend to confirm whether that is true and to inquire where do they do their meetings. Na akaambiwa ni ukweli. So I remember I was called home and I was told, if for sure this thing is happening, I think you can come home with that man and 3 other elders, maybe a man from his side, a church person, like that. And so we planned and we went. And I remember the moment we went, we talked, they wanted to put some blames and all that kind of stuff. But I remember our man of God was very supportive because he explained everything in details. And by the time the meeting was finishing, we were all friends and they were okay with the wedding and they were ready to come and support, you know. They were just ready to come on board all of a sudden. Because I remember my dad was to travel out of country and they were requesting whether we can push the wedding, but I said no. I said no because that, you see, when God gives instruction, zinakuwa hard in our timelines. If you dare push like this, we may change so many things, you know. So I was like, we cannot change the dates. So someone else came on board to stand in place of my dad. But everybody was support. By the time that meeting visit was ending, we were all laughing. We were all friends. And they were okay and they were supporting that. They came in through financially during, I would say, as their appreciation during the wedding, not before. Yeah. Because remember now, by the time we were going, I think now it was the next Saturday we are supposed to wed.
It was a week
Yes, it was a week's
A
time.
week to the wedding.
And remember, we cannot share that we have financial problems, because the moment you share, no, it tells you, then even God is not for this. You see, so we were wise enough to know that whether we have the finances or not, definitely we are still going to do the wedding. Yeah. So it was so funny because we didn't have finances even that Thursday, so that we get to Saturday. You get? We didn't have a. Okay, we were working with Utali grounds.
Yes.
But we had not even paid. We had not paid. We had not paid any service providers.
Because we didn't have money.
We didn't have the money, you know. But I was still reminding myself, God, you said I should never. The point was, and the instruction was, don't give up until hata ikifika mwisho, don't. So God had a plan and an agenda, you know. So I remember that Friday came, and I told, we agreed I was going for my hair to be made, and we still don't have money.
The gown was ready.
The gown was ready. I had only paid, I think, 3,000.
Yes.
For the gown.
My suit was ready.
Yes.
And even them, the ones who are going, the groom, yeah.
Everything.
All of them.
But my gown, I had only paid
3,000.
Yeah. And the gown was 40,000. And I was still going to pick the gown. So I remember.
She was going to the salon that.
I know.
Was it Thursday or Friday?
Yeah, it was on Friday. It was on Friday. Because I think Friday, Thursday jioni, there's someone who gave us the money that was supposed to go and complete the gown. And the point was, it was like a token, just in case you decide to change your mind, you can see something else, like an evening party, just like that, to officiate your wedding or something like that. But for me, I knew what God had told me. So that jioni, after nimetoka salon, I remember God directed me to where I was supposed to go and pick the money. And remember now the venue I remember we had a meeting with our man of God, our pastor. And there's a venue, what do we call it?
Mall, Unicity.
Unicity, KU.
KU Mall.
I remember the businesses there as it was cut. So there was
a hotel.
Yes.
And there's a ground where the hotel was operating. So he told us, you can go and check that place and hear how they can charge and everything.
So imagine we were charged 10,000. 10,000. 10,000.
Which
to
was
do everything.
Which was meals. Actually
So
were paying
10
for the meals.
The ground, everything 10. Then the meal we can pay for ourselves. You get. And it is covered. We don't need a tent. You don't even need decoration for that place, I am telling you. It's pretty.
It was already decorated.
So we decided, I think we can change that place. But the money is not there. So after I went to salon, nikamaliza, I remember I was directed to who to go to. And immediately, the money came in. The money came in, what we wanted. I think it was around 40,000. So
you see, initially we had in every situation, every couple when they're making budget for their wedding, it
big
always hits the roof, 200,000 or 500,000, something like that.
I remember it was 590, according to our budget.
But the way God dealt with us, we got to a point that now that 40K was enough for the whole wedding. 40K.
Yes.
And actually the money we got, I think it was received at around 6 p.m.
So that you rush.
I went to the venue around 7 p.m. to go and pay and assure them that for sure the wedding will be here tomorrow. You see, them falling off was not because they hated us.
It
is the heat.
Too much.
You see, you can sign for a battle. You go to the battlefield and you realize that you are not really prepared. So we had no issue with them. Actually, we invited them and they came. We didn't have any problem. For us, you see, God, the way God told us that it is not about the wedding, it is what I'm going to do with the wedding day. So for us, we didn't even have that pomp and like the way people get drunk into their wedding, you know, it is my wedding day. It wasn't something like that. We were looking at what is God going to do on this wedding day. And what is it that is aligning with heaven that we may not miss? Be in the flamboyancy of the wedding and forget that there's something we had made a covenant with God. So with these people, we invited them. We didn't have any problem. We invited all our friends, anyone. It was in the public domain.
Actually, the people who failed to like turn up, it's because of that kind of shame. How could I not support these people to the end? And initially you thought you're friends with this person. You know, you can really be telling yourself that you're friends to a person, but it's until God tests that for you to know whether this person is a friend, you know. And for us, we had nothing to hate people. I remember even God had warned me beforehand. And because he had told me, your wedding is not going to be supported. So it was not something that I was not so prepared for.
It was not a surprise to us.
I knew. So I was like, it is okay. Because God was very precise. Don't hate these people. You see, that is equally a way of God winning people back to him. If you thought these things are supposed to come this way, and then you find this person has not even hated you, then these people have guts. But you see, it's because there's something he has wired in us, and it's something that even other people should learn and understand, that this is how things work. Because it's something that was a good reason for us to be bitter. Bitter with our families, bitter with our friends. But we made sure that we didn't miss what God wanted to do, because it sparked joy in us. And the bond was so strong, very strong.
I remember even before, just towards the wedding, the people we chose to be our best couple
They withdrew.
called us and said they will not be available. And said, oh, that's okay. We are okay with that. So the ones who stood for the wedding as best couple were among the best maid. Best maid, and yeah. We picked the two guys, a guy and a lady, and said, you're going to sign the certificate. Because we had, you see, all these things are coming like obstruction. But we knew where we are heading to. In that moment, because we were hearing God, so even if you are a man of God and you came and told us that this wedding you can push it a little bit, no, we would not hear that. Because we knew our focus was, God had said, 1st of February 2020. And of which, if we had missed it, after our wedding, it took around 3 weeks, and Corona was here, lockdown, and everything now went haywire.
No weddings for a period of time. You remember that, and
God was so precise with his dates, and that's how we insisted. Even when the parents were like, you can push it because the father was traveling to Dubai, we can wait for him and come. We said, there's no problem. The wedding is between me and her.